deep, sustained sense of how fades and over slow. Driving at a trying to beat, with a sound like a single mournful bell tolling. The air was thick with static, a forgotten past. With Gino, this self-forgement believed his peace wouldn't last. He built a wall of stone, a cold indifference, a modern exile free from history's pretense. But through the wires, a voice omniscient and profound spoke the forgotten word that made the silent sound. It struck the shield he wore, a clang of ancient pain. Gabriel, his breath caught a trap bird, a broken desperate plea. Stop using the name, release this memory. The name above the toll for sins he had to know. The truth he buried deep beneath the borrowed bone. Let your true self, the fire of your heritage. The Gabriel that weeps within your fortress pride. You saw the metaphor laid bare, a vulnerable soul who sleeps with blanket clutched to make himself feel whole. That inner self unhardened by the years of flight still seeks to comfort, still awaits the morning light. The persona of the man, indifferent, strong and wide, was shattered by the child, the one who lived inside. Then came the hammer blow, the line that could not yield, the destiny that lay upon the battlefield. Gabriel, this great card, a trap bird of broken desperate plea. Stop using that name. Gabriel, the name I goes, the beat intensifies. His breath caught a trap, bird of broken desperate plea. Stop using that name. Release this.
Vignette 13. Gabriel's Echo. Gino is spinning vinyl at Casa Nova Radio when the broadcast was interrupted by a strange voice just after midnight. Gino is cast into a deep trance as the narrator ignites an internal conflict that resonates deeply within him. The confrontation over the name Gabriel serves as a pivotal, emotionally charged moment within the narrative. The radio narrator deliberately uses this name to address the character Gino, a choice that immediately triggers a forceful and visceral rejection from Gino, who vehemently demands that the narrator cease its use. This resistance immediately establishes Gabriel as a point of profound psychological conflict.
The narrator, however, refuses to back down, asserting with unwavering conviction that Gabriel is Gino's authentic identity, his true name. This declaration is then clarified with evocative descriptions, calling it the one you carry and, more tellingly, the one you hide behind. This semantic choice frames Gabriel not merely as a birth name, but as an inescapable burden or repressed self that Gino actively attempts to conceal beneath the persona of Gino. By invoking Gabriel, the omnipresent voice of the narrator succeeds in penetrating the elaborate emotional and psychological defenses Gino has constructed. The narrator attempts to communicate directly with Gino's genuine, vulnerable self, bypassing the hardened, indifferent facade that Gino projects. While the character attempts to maintain a posture of detachment and indifference toward the pain and trauma of his family's past, the narrator identifies Gabriel as the part of his being that remains fully alive to emotion. This inner self is described as the part that continues to feel, listens, and seeks comfort, suggesting an innate human need for safety and connection that Gino denies himself. The narrator uses a particularly poignant metaphor to illustrate this vulnerability. The Gabriel within him is the part that sleeps with the blanket pulled to your chin because it makes you feel safe. Crucially, the conflict over the name extends beyond personal psychology to the character's relationship with his heritage. Gabriel is the link, the indelible tie to Gino's ancestral history and the burdens of his lineage. The narrator drives this point home with the profound and inescapable declaration. Your story did not begin with you, Gabriel. This sentence is the narrative's central thematic assertion, signifying that Gino is not a self-made man, existing in a vacuum, but rather an inheritor, a vessel for the echoes of those who came before. By reclaiming the name Gabriel, the narrator forces Gino to acknowledge his place in a generational continuum and to confront the accumulated weight of his family's experiences that now manifest in his own life. The name thus becomes a symbol of inherited memory, vulnerability, and the inescapable truth of his identity. The name Gabriel hung in the air, a bell tolling for a past he had desperately tried to bury. For years he had been Gino, a self-forged shield of indifference and detachment. A man who believed his story began the moment he decided to forget. But the voice from the radio omnipresent, knowing, would not permit this convenient amnesia. When the narrator spoke the forbidden name, Gabriel, it was not an address but an accusation, a deliberate strike against the hardened facade he had so meticulously constructed. His rejection was immediate, visceral. Stop using that name! Gino's demand was a roar of pain, a desperate attempt to shove the past back into the shadows. Yet the narrator, a tireless excavator of truth, refused to retreat, asserting with unnerving clarity that Gabriel was not merely a birth name, but his true name, the one he tried to conceal, the one you hide behind. This semantic choice reframed the name as an inescapable weight, a repressed self that lay restless beneath the persona of Gino. The confrontation over the name was a surgical strike, bypassing the hardened, indifferent posture that Gino projected. The narrator sought the genuine, vulnerable self, the part of him that was still alive to emotion, the inner being that continued to feel, listen, and seek comfort. This was the Gabriel within him, the part that, despite the grown man's defiance, still sleeps with the blanket pulled to your chin because it makes you feel safe. It was a devastatingly precise metaphor, stripping away the illusion of his self-sufficiency to expose a profound, innate human need for safety and connection that Gino had spent a lifetime denying. Crucially, the conflict was not just psychological, it was ancestral. The name Gabriel was the indelible link to his heritage, the unbroken chain to his family's history. The narrator's voice delivered the central thematic truth like a hammer blow. Your story did not begin with you, Gabriel. This single sentence shattered the myth of the self-made man, forcing Gino to acknowledge that he was not an isolated entity, but an inheritor, a vessel carrying the echoes of those who came before. By reclaiming the name Gabriel, the omnipresent voice compelled him to step out of the vacuum he had created and confront the accumulated burdens of his lineage that now manifested in his own life. The name, once a secret, became an inescapable symbol of inherited memory, raw vulnerability, and the profound, undeniable truth of who he was. Gino, the creation, was being dismantled, brick by brick, until only Gabriel, the inheritor, remained. The shadow's name. The air was thick with static, a forgotten past, where Gino, the self-forged man, believed his peace would last. He built a wall of stone, of cold indifference, a modern exile, free from history's pretense. But through the wires, a voice, omniscient and profound, spoke the forgotten word that made the silence sound. It struck the shield he wore, a clang of ancient pain. Gabriel, his breath caught, a trapped bird, a desperate broken plea. Stop using that name! Release this memory! The name, a bell that tolled for sins he hadn't known, a truth he'd buried deep beneath a borrowed throne. But the voice, relentless keeper of the lineage, said that is your true self, the fire of your heritage. The one you carry, son, the one you try to hide. the Gabriel that weeps within your fortress pride. He saw the metaphor laid bare, a vulnerable soul who sleeps with blanket clutched to make himself feel whole. That inner self, unhardened by the years of flight, still seeks the comfort, still awaits the morning light. The persona of the man, indifferent, strong, and wide, was shattered by the child, the one who lived inside. Then came the hammer blow, the line that could not yield, the destiny that lay upon the battlefield. Your story did not begin with you, Gabriel. He was not self-made clay, but vessel for the deep, a harvest of the seeds his ancestors did keep. The traumas and the triumphs, the love and the despair, were echoes in his bones, a weight too great to bear. The ancestral fire ignited in his breast, the hidden, burning truth that would not let him rest. For Gabriel was the link, the chain that would not break, a solemn, sacred path for him alone to take. He was the inheritor, the final living page. To turn the burdens of a generational stage, Gino, the illusion, began to fall away, and Gabriel, the inheritor, was destined to obey the pull of what he was, the future he must mend, to face the burning past and see the journey to the end.
The Song of Gabriel, with the voice of ancestry, invocation. Sing, O muse, of the man called Gino.
The builder of walls, master of silence, in the static of night, in the hum of forgotten wires. He stands, forged of stone and exile, denying the fire of the name he once carried, the memory he hides.
Through shadow and echo, a voice from the deep
Calls forth the truth.
Gabriel, heir of ages.
The shield of Gino, with hands of iron, Gino built his shield, a fortress of indifference, cold as a winter stone.
His heart, a locked chamber, untouched by the world, cast out the songs of ancestors, banished their pain.
He walked as a stranger to himself, unyielding,
Wearing a mask against the wind, against the longing for comfort that whispers behind closed doors. The voice emerges,
but through the darkness, the radio voice resounds, omniscient, knowing, relentless as fate. It utters the forbidden name,
Gabriel. The sound strikes his armor, a clang of ancient pain, a bell tolling for sins and sorrows unspoken.
Gabriel.
The voice proclaims is your true name, the one you carry, the one you bury deep.
The battle within.
Gino recoils, a roar of pain splits the air.
Stop using that name!
His cry, a desperate plea, yet the voice presses on. Excavator of truth, unveiling the child who sleeps with blanket to his chin, seeking warmth in the night, longing for safety.
The wall of stone shudders, the fortress pride cracks.
Gabriel,
The soul that listens, feels, and mourns,
emerges,
trembling from the shadows within.
ancestral chains.
Your story did not begin with you, Gabriel.
The voice declares, a hammer blow of destiny. You are the vessel, the harvest of seeds sown in the bones of your ancestors. Traumas and triumphs, love and despair, echoes that burn in your chest,
Shaping your path.
the name, a chain unbroken, the fire handed down, links you to those who came before.
The shattering,
The shield of Gino splinters break my brick, his illusion falls away before
for the relentless truth. The child within
Gabriel,
weeps in the ruins,
no longer hidden.
no longer silenced. He stands as inheritor, as keeper of fire, bearing burdens and blessings, the weight of memory. The fortress of pride is shattered,
The man remade,
resolution.
now Gabriel walks the sacred path.
No longer alone, no longer only Gino.
He embraces the lineage, the fire, the stone. Accept the comfort he sought, the story he
Feared in the morning light, he turns the page of generational stage men's what must be mended.
his destiny sealed, his name reclaimed.
He becomes the light upon the ancestral stone.